Phlegmatics versus Melancholies. By this point in my Wired series podcast, you are probably catching on that the four temperaments are quite contrasting. In this podcast, we are going to dig a little deeper and compare phlegmatics and melancholies by examining 7 specific areas. Each of these areas is divided into 2 categories. Interestingly enough, phlegmatics and melancholies share 5 of the 7 categories, but the character traits of each temperament create a very different response. It is not important to actually know the names of the 7 areas. Instead, I want you to focus your energy on trying to identify your own behavior within the descriptions. To assist, I created a simple outline titled 7 Areas and posted it to my website, thriveintherealworld.com, under the Downloads tab. Use this outline to document your selections, taking notes when you hear specific descriptions that actually represent you. It's kind of like an a la carte method of further connecting the dots to discovering who you really are. Let's begin with the first area labeled openness. Its 2 categories are expressive and reserved. Phlegmatics and melancholies are both reserved, purposely holding back their thoughts, and slow to reveal them. Phlegmatics avoid being a bother to others and remain quiet, keeping their thoughts and opinions to themselves. They can be insecure about their abilities, so they prefer others make all of the decisions. Melancholies privately keep to themselves to analyze, problem solve, and reflect. The outer world can seem chaotic and illogical, causing a melancholy to become easily offended, prompting them to internally judge and criticize. The second area is labeled recharge, and its 2 categories are introverts and extroverts. Phlegmatics and melancholies are both introverts, recharging their energy by being alone and typically at home. Phlegmatics enjoy a lot of time alone, but once recharged, they delight in being a part of a social group. Although they can be slow to warm up to people, phlegmatics are extremely loyal to their few close friends. They prefer calm and low-key settings where they can sit back and listen to the conversation or watch from the sidelines as others engage in activities. For a melancholy, being around people in small doses is manageable, but exhausting. They are at their best when left alone to work and process. It is draining for them to express their thoughts, ideas, and feelings. However, they enjoy the company of intellectuals who can partake in deep and sensible conversations. The third area is labeled reactions, and its 2 categories are quick versus slow. Phlegmatics and melancholies both respond slowly to a situation or event. Passive, patient, and resistant to change, phlegmatics can ride the brakes when responding and making decisions. They can be patient to the point of paralysis and seek a routine life free of change. They are not easily provoked or insulted due to being so tolerant, diplomatic, and forgiving. When involved in a project, phlegmatics will resent anyone who pushes or rushes them, slowing down the process out of sheer stubbornness. A melancholy's natural desire to excessively research in order to get things right is a driving factor behind a melancholy's thought process. Analyzing, overanalyzing, and analysis paralysis can hinder a melancholy from making a final decision. Spending too much time planning and perfecting can delay a project. Yet once started, a melancholy requires as much time as desired to complete it. The fourth area is labeled outlook, and its 2 categories are optimistic and pessimistic. Both phlegmatics and melancholies have a negative point of view, making them pessimists. Phlegmatics lack the desire to get too involved along with avoiding any responsibility, which can make them appear both lazy and boring. In reality, phlegmatics believe others can do everything better than they can. Melancholies are the first to think of the worst-case scenarios. They are naturally guarded, suspicious, and skeptical, So completely trusting anyone or anything can be an insurmountable task. The fifth area is labeled reflection, and its two categories are high self-esteem and low self-esteem. Phlegmatics and Melancholies have a poor image of their abilities and self-worth, and therefore have a low self-esteem. Phlegmatics can be very insecure about their abilities. When mistakes are made, they blame themselves for upsetting the peace and apologize when it isn't even their fault. They can withstand a lot of abuse, which can lead to being taken advantage of and treated like doormats. Melancholies are aware of their flaws and failures, which can lead to the feelings of guilt and anxiety. They oftentimes need reassurance and logical explanations, but will typically fact-check and cross-reference any advice they receive. Although they continually strive for perfection, Melancholies know deep down that it's unachievable, which can lead to disappointment. The sixth area is labeled emotions, and its two categories are emotional and unemotional. Phlegmatics refrain from revealing any type of emotion, while Melancholies convey intense feelings and strong beliefs. Phlegmatics' stoic expression can make it impossible for others to know their true feelings. They rarely show their emotions to avoid being a bother to others, which quite possibly may be one of the reasons why phlegmatics are so easy to get along with. Although they are unemotional, phlegmatics are agreeable and cooperative. Melancholies' feelings run as deep as their thoughts. They are empathetic, sensitive to others' needs, and moved to tears with compassion. Melancholies are fearful. They fear failure. They fear the unknown. They fear being hurt. And they fear making wrong decisions. This typically creates a great deal of worry and anxiety. The seventh and final area is labeled duration, and its two categories are long and short. A phlegmatic's attitude towards something or someone is short-lived, while a Melancholies' time frame is prolonged. Phlegmatics' desire to keep the peace leads them to be accommodating and avoid holding grudges. Their moods are fleeting, whereas positive and negative reactions are weakly expressed and quickly disappear. Their ability to find an easy way out enables them to escape being pulled into conflict or pushed into doing something they don't want to do. Melancholies develop a handful of close friendships over time, focusing on quality over quantity. Careful consideration, deep thought processing, and logical reasoning help Melancholies make the best decisions. However, they will typically question the final decision's accuracy and tweak it several times over. This completes part 2 of the 7 areas. I hope you also listened to part 1, as it is equally important. I also hope that you downloaded and filled out the documents, Make a Difference, Character Traits, and 7 areas that are posted on my website, thriveintherealworld.com. Seeing your selections on paper will help you connect the dots to who you really are. My next podcast, titled Worried Sick, is an example of how certain character traits tie together. It will also prove how knowing and managing our dominant traits can be a game changer to improving our relationships and our overall well-being.